About primary, secondary and tertiary carbon atoms and quaternary carbon atoms and quaternary hydrogens. What is primary carbon? A single carbon is primary. The valency of carbon is 4. Hence here the primary carbons are 1 and primary hydrogens 4. The hydrogen atoms attached to primary carbon are known as primary hydrogens. And if one carbon directly attached with one carbon, it is also primary carbon. Problem is so one carbon is directly attached with one carbon, it is known as primary carbon. Okay, and it is also directly attached with one carbon, it is primary carbon. Now hydrogens attached to primary carbon, it is single bond and valency 4 and it is CH3, and here 1 remaining valency 3 and total 4 bonds, so CH3. See here primary carbons to primary hydrogens 6, primary carbons to primary hydrogen 6. If you take CH2 double bond CH2, here number of primary carbons, it is primary carbon because directly attached with one carbon. It is also primary carbon directly attached with one carbon. And here primary carbons is 2 but primary hydrogens 4. Because of double bonds, number of hydrogens are decreases. If we take 3 carbons, CH triple bond CH, it is directly attached with one carbon, it is primary. It is also directly attached with one carbon, it is also primary. So primary carbons here 2 and primary hydrogens here 2. Write down. Write down. About secondary carbons, listen. Secondary carbon. So secondary carbon means if a carbon attached with 2 carbons, it is known as secondary. If a carbon directly attached with 2 carbons is known as secondary. See, middle carbon is known as secondary carbon because it is directly attached with 2 carbons. The hydrogens attached to secondary carbon are called secondary hydrogens. The hydrogens attached to secondary carbon is known as secondary hydrogen. Here carbon valency 4, 2 bonds are there, remaining 2 hydrogens. Now here the first carbon is known as primary carbon. Why first carbon is primary carbon? Because it is directly attached with one carbon. Here hydrogens, already one bond is there, remaining 3 hydrogens because carbon valency 4. It is also directly attached with one carbon, it is primary. The valency 4, already one bond is there, remaining hydrogens. See here, secondary carbons 1, secondary hydrogens 2, primary carbons 2, primary hydrogens 6. And another example, CH3, CH2 and CH2 and CH3. See here the first carbon is known as primary carbon because it is directly attached with one carbon. Second carbon is known as, it is secondary. Why it is secondary? It is attached with 2 carbons. And third carbon is known as, it is also secondary because it is attached with 2 carbons. And fourth carbon is known as primary carbon because it is directly attached with one carbon. Understood? So here number of primary carbon atoms are 1, 2. Number of primary hydrogens are 6. Number of secondary carbons are 2. Number of secondary hydrogens are 4. Write down. Tertiary carbon. Tertiary carbon means if a carbon attached with three carbons, it is known as tertiary carbon. See, tertiary carbon means if a carbon directly attached with three carbons. If a carbon directly attached with three carbons is tertiary carbon. See, middle carbon is tertiary. Middle carbon is known as tertiary carbon because it is directly attached with three carbons. So here the valency of carbon is for 1, 2, 3 and one hydrogen attached. It is primary carbon, it is primary carbon, it is primary carbon. So primary hydrogens are here 3 because carbon valency 4, already one bond is there, here 3, here already one bond is there. See, it is known as middle carbon is known as tertiary carbon. Understood? Now primary carbons here 3, primary hydrogens here 9, secondary carbons here 0, no secondary carbons. So secondary hydrogens also 0. Tertiary carbons is 1, tertiary hydrogen is 1. Okay, now about quaternary carbon, 4 power 0 carbon, quaternary carbon. See, quaternary carbon, if a carbon directly attached with 4 carbons, it is known as quaternary carbon. So, if a carbon directly attached with 4 carbons, it is called quaternary. Middle carbon is called quaternary carbon. Here, the valency of carbon is 4, hence no hydrogens attached to carbon. Hence, there is no quaternary hydrogens in organic compounds. Understood? There is no quaternary hydrogens. See, the middle carbon is known as quaternary carbon. It is 4 power 0 because it is attached to 4 carbons. See, quaternary carbons 1, but quaternary hydrogens always 0. The quaternary hydrogens always 0 because no hydrogens attached to middle carbon. And how many primary carbons are there? CH3 and CH3 and CH3 and CH3. See, 4 primary carbons are attached and primary hydrogens, 12 primary hydrogens are attached. Actually, the compound name is neo. If 4 carbons attached to 4 carbon, if one carbon attached to 4 carbons, it is known as neopentane. Neopentane because all are single bonds. Pent means if a organic compound contains 5 carbons, it's called pentane. But one carbon directly attached with 4 carbons, it is called neopentane. Neopentane contains how many primary carbons? 4. How many quaternary carbons? 1. Write down. Completed. So there in quaternary carbon, the middle carbon attached with 4 carbons. Hence middle carbon is known as quaternary carbon and but quaternary hydrogen 0 because middle carbon attached with 4 carbons means there is no hydrogens attached to carbon. Okay. Hence quaternary hydrogen 0 and remaining all are 4 carbons are known as primary carbons and hydrogens are known as 12 hydrogens. Okay.